Okay, so we're going to look at multiplication and division of decimals is what we're going to go into. So we're going to look at the patterns again in multiplication and division, kind of go over those patterns of 10. So let's look at just kind of review from whole numbers. So you have 3 times 5 would be 15, and then I'm going to move to the next place by doing times 10. So it'd be 30 times 5 is 150, so I've increased by 10, so you're going to add a 0 to your answer. So remember, you're moving from the ones place to the tens place by a set of 10, because that's our base, the base 10, that's what our number system is based on. And so you go from 3 to 30 by times 10, 3 to 300 by times 100, and so on. You can see for so forth, kind of reviewing that. All right, so let's do some practice on this one. So I want you to bring these in tomorrow. Oh, I forgot my title on this slide. So do these practice of whole numbers. There we go. So this practice of whole numbers, so do 5 times 10, 5 times 100, 5 times 1,000, 5 times 10,000. So make sure you bring those in, reviews. Okay, so let's look at it if we're looking at decimals. So just like when you're in the whole number section, if I multiply by 10, I'm going to go from the ones to the tens place, the tens to the hundreds place. The times 10 gives me from 100 to 1,000. Times 10 take me from 1,000 to 10,000. Same thing if you're in the decimals. I'm going to go from 1,000ths, and it's going to take me to the hundredths by doing times 10. And I can go from the hundredths to the tenths by doing times 10. And I can go from the tenths to the ones, the whole number, the units, by doing times 10. Okay? So I could go from the hundredths to this whole by doing times 100, just like when you're over here. If I want to move 2 places over, because we're based on the tens is our base that we're talking about. Okay, so if you're going to go the other way, if you're going smaller, if I'm dividing by those groups of 10, so remember, it's still just because moves the place over one place. So if I were looking at the whole numbers, if I divide it by 10, I'm going to move it down one place. I'm going to move over one place. By dividing by 10, it's going to take me from the ones to the tenths, from the tenths to the hundredths. If I divide it by 100, it would take me from the ones all to the hundredths. All right. So just kind of the same pattern still exists whenever you're looking at decimals. You just have that decimal that kind of moves with it as well. All right. Let's do some practice together, and then we're going to go on, and you guys will do some on your own. Here's another little helpful, real quick, when I look at, if you're going to look at moving the digits, when you multiply, your digits move to the left, which makes sense because the numbers get bigger as they move to the left. When you divide, your digits move to the right, which also makes sense because remember, as you go further and further this way, the smaller and smaller the numbers are getting. So either way, if this works or if this one works, whichever one works best for you, you might want to copy that down into your in your math spiral. Will be a great idea to have it or print it out, either one of those or both. All right, so here we go on this one. We've got 23 and 5/10 times 10. So if I'm moving that decimal over one time, I'm doing times 10, so it's going to get one place bigger, so 235. So then I'm moving it over 2 times because I'm getting bigger by 2 places. I've got 2 sets of 10, which is 100. So it'll be 2,350. And then I'm moving it over 3 times because I've got 3 groups. I've got 10 times 10 times 10, like 3 to the 10 to the third power, if you will. So that would be 23,500. Okay, so if you notice, it moves over one place every time as I'm going up. And remember, it's because I'm behind I was behind the decimal by 1. Now I'm going to be in front of the decimal by 2 because I moved over, and then I'm now in front by 3, so I have to add on those zeros to move myself over. Okay? All right. Let's go look at these if I'm going to be dividing, if I'm going to go the other direction. So 23 divided by 5, so remember that my numbers are going to be getting smaller. So go over here and look. If I'm dividing it by 10, I'm sorry, not by 5, I'm going to be moving that decimal, I'm going to be moving that number over this direction because I'm dividing, so it's going to be getting a smaller number. So this would be like 2 and 35 hundredths. All right, and then I'm moving it over twice now, so it's going to be like 235,000 because I've moved it over once times divided by 10 and then dividing by 100. So now I'm going to be moving it over twice. I'm dividing it by, I'm sorry, 3 times, dividing it by 10, dividing it by 100, and then dividing it by again. So it's going to be 0.0235, which goes into the 10,000ths place. Okay, there we go. So those are the ones we've done together. So I want you to go ahead and try these 4 and bring them in tomorrow. Okay? All right, see y'all tomorrow.